Okay, so today we will look at another example of application of backward induction. Okay, but this time the game is just a bit larger, and this larger game is a bit is one step up actually. Why? Because here one has two strategies, and if one chooses L, then player 3 get the chance to play, and player 2 never get the chance to play. But if one plays R, then only player 2 plays, and thereafter player 3. Now, this typical structure, this example, it will give us that instead of the dynamic BOS, where there were two possible actions or strategies of wife, if there were three cases, like player 3 has here, in one chooses L, and the other two is one chooses R, two chooses A, and one chooses R, two chooses B. Okay, so if this becomes it becomes larger three decision node, then the first of all, then how do we write the strategy taken by player 3? And obviously it is in the same way, but it's longer now, and so it may become confusing a bit. Okay, so that's why we are taking a bigger example, or a bigger game. But before going into that, we'll just look into two things. Number one that we discussed is games of perfect information. We said that games of perfect information are the only kind of games in which we can apply backward induction. That means, as a method, backward induction heavily depends on the fact that every information set is singleton, the fact which characterizes perfect information. The other thing is that, so this is the first checkpoint. The second is that it has to be a finite game. As we know that finite game essentially here means finite nodes. Finite nodes. Now, why this condition is needed? Uh, Theoretically, or in your mind, you can think of the fact that if it is finite nodes, then probably we'll end somewhere. That's the idea. But you know, when it comes to induction, we'll just say that for infinite games, the idea is a bit is very different. The results, if you study infinite game in future, you will see that the results are very different from these kind of finite games. Okay, this simple fact that this game is going to stay, it changes a lot of things. Anyway, so here we are with finite nodes, and every information set containing one single node. So, like earlier, we know the method. The method is this, that we start from the end. So backward induction starts with the final or last decision node, right? Last decision node. Okay, so by last decision node, we mean the decision node before terminal node. Okay. Now, since this is a game of perfect information, in these three last decision nodes, player 3 has a very simple job. Okay, so let us take this one. So here I'll write it. Okay, I'll write one of them separately. So if player 1 plays L, and there are two choices, L or R, so here 2, 0, 1, and -1, 5, and 6. And as you can easily imagine, that this is the utility of player 1, this is of player 2, this is of player 3. So here R is the better strategy because 6 is higher than 1. Okay, so from here, what we get is that if player 3 is at this decision node, then player 3 will play R if player 1 plays L. Okay, so that is our first strategy, right? We'll just write it down. So 3 plays R conditioned on 1 plays L. Okay. All right. So I'll just write here the payoffs just for the sake of calculation, which payoff wins. Okay. So here it will be -1, 5, and 6. So what do we do here? We uh, erase this because this part of game is solved, and the last decision node now becomes the terminal node, and here we write 1, 5, and 6. Now similarly here also the same thing will happen, and as you can see 4 is larger, so R, and here 7 is larger, so L. So how will I write now? I will write it like this. Okay. So number 2 is 3 goes for R conditioned on 2 plays A, and further on 1 plays R. Okay, just confirm it. So this, and this. So that's how we write. Okay. All right. And the third one will follow the similar idea. 3 plays L given 2 plays B and 1 plays R. As I said always that in game theory, solving the game at this level is basically easy, but what is difficult is writing. Okay, so if I write it in English, I'll write it 3 plays R if player 2 plays B and if player 1 plays R. Okay, so that is the complete sentence. So here in terms of optimal strategies, obviously which will belong to the Nash equilibrium we are going to find at the end, it will have 3 strategies conditioned on 3 cases for player 3. All right. So now we know which payoff wins. Okay. So in one case it is 5, 4, 4. In the other case it is 0, -1, 7. Okay. So now we will erase this. They become the terminal node. Here we are going to write 5, 4, 4. And here 0, -1, 7. Naturally, here there is nothing for player 2, and here 4 is greater than -1, so A is going to win. So for player 2, we will have only 1. So for player 2, only one optimal strategy. And what is that? It is 2 will go for A conditioned on 1 goes for R. So player 2 plays A if player 1 plays R. Okay, so here also we will erase it and write this pair 5, 4, 4. Okay. All right, so now we are at the end. 5, 4, 4. So here it's simple. Player 1 will play R because 5 is higher. So for player 1, what will it be? 1 plays R. Okay. All right. So now, if I want to write the Nash equilibrium of this game, what will it be? It will be a list of all these, right? So if I write it, then the NE, that is Nash equilibrium found by backward induction, will be sigma 1, sigma 2, sigma 3, where sigma 1, just for using general symbols, we are using sigma 1, which is basically which symbolizes mixed strategy, right? So sigma 2 is, what was it? A given R. Okay, and sigma 3, we have a lot. So first one is R given L, then is R given A R, and then L given B R. Okay, so this is what we have as the Nash equilibrium. See, the important thing is first is how we are going about it. The method backward induction is very simple, right? We take the final decision node, we solve it as a single person problem, and then we just go to the next to final node, we solve it again, and we go like this. So that's why we had decision nodes for 3 players, and we essentially solved 3 single decision problem for player 3. So we had 3 optimal strategies. We solved only 1 single decision problem for player 2. So we have 1, and for player 1 also we have 1 optimal strategy. Okay, and then at the end we list all of them, and that's how we solve it. So it's very simple. Anyways, now this solution and the other solution that we solved using backward induction, they give this idea that, or they raise this question that where is mixed strategy here? Okay, where is mixed strategy here? Because in static games, we saw that there can be cases where pure strategy, we will not be able to find pure strategy Nash equilibrium, and then we'll move to mixed strategy. So what is the case here? Here, for that, we make a claim, and that claim is known as Zermelo's theorem. Okay. Zermelo's theorem. And what this theorem says is very interestingly simple and important. It says that if we have finite games of perfect information, the kind of game that we are dealing with, so if we have finite games of perfect information, okay, and if we apply backward induction, then we will always have pure strategy Nash equilibrium. And that's a very powerful statement, because this is one single time we are saying that there is no point of finding or going for mixed strategy, because we know that there will always be a pure strategy. Why? Now the proof of this theorem is very hard. Anyways, but the essence is this. You see, by solving these 2 games, we have this, by now we have this idea that if we are dealing with finite games of perfect information, okay, that is every information set is singleton, and if we are applying backward induction, what are we essentially doing? What we are doing is we are solving a list of or a huge number of single person decision problem. And that's very easy, right? And not only that is easy, that is the important thing is that is always solvable, because it's just a comparison of numbers, and you can always end up comparing. Okay, so you'll always be able to find which strategy gives more, because that ordering will always hold. Okay, there will be natural ordering. So it doesn't matter how many number of single person decision problems you are solving. The important point is that you will always end up with a solution, and as long as that holds because of this natural ordering of payoffs, you will end up with a pure strategy Nash equilibrium. And this is the simple thing that Zermelo's theorem is essentially saying. That's why Zermelo's theorem becomes very important here, because it says that please restrict your attention within pure strategy Nash equilibrium, because it is always going to exist. And moreover, because you don't have to look beyond. Okay, so that's very important. That's something that we are not going to find in what we are going to do next, or that's not the kind of result that we got earlier. All right, so from here we will now move into, in the next session we'll move into, naturally, games of imperfect information. As I was saying, imperfect information. So information sets, we will have multiple number of region nodes, and there we will learn SPNE. But to start with, we will first know what a sub game is. Okay, and then we'll look into a game where we will try to find how many number of sub games are there, and how many number of sub games are, or what kind of partition of a game is not a sub game, and what kind of a partition of a game is a sub game. And after finding the sub game, the job is very simple. We will solve it like any other game. Okay, so let us end here.